My name is Russ Winder. I drive in a 2009 Audi A4 with a lot of miles on it. I used to travel for a living, and that was kind of why I had the car, kind of the reason for getting an all-wheel drive car. I've liked the Audis. I've had a few of them in the past. What excites me about this car is that it drives really well. I mean, it's a good handling car. When traveling, I would try to stay off the freeway, try and go find these back roads. One of the best roads I like is Beartooth Highway. It's just north of Yellowstone. So I'd go do work up in North Dakota, and if I could have a couple extra hours, go through Yellowstone. You get to see Yellowstone, but on the backside, there's a road that is like switchbacks. It's climbing this very steep grade, and so what's good about it is that if you have a car that's got good power, it's taking good turns, and it's on power, and long straights, and then hard aggressive braking, and trying not to run other people off the road. But you see the huge elevation climbs, and then you see these as you're coming up over this corner or over this ridge, you start seeing these really pretty views, and sometimes you're going a little faster than you should be, and back on the brakes, right? Going after these roads are a lot of fun, kind of seeing what the car will and won't do. And it's not, again, this isn't anything crazy. This isn't a road racer. There's a lot of cars out there that do this a lot better, but for what this car does, and other things, it does really well. It's a lot of fun to drive. I'm averaging 600 miles a day last year alone. 70,000 miles in a year is a lot to put on a car. So you got to like something you're going to sit in. It's got to have good audio. It's got to sound good if your music cranked, or it's got to be good in the snow, or it's got to be good in the cold weather. Spent a lot of time in North Dakota when it gets really cold up there. It's nice to have heated seats. But it's been a good car, but it's not been baby for sure. As far as the engine goes, the engine is basically stock. It's got the factory KO3 turbocharger on there. It does have an aftermarket tune from APR to Stage 2. Stage 1 is basically a software change. Stage 2 is also a software change with some exhaust work. It's got no catalyst in it right now. The car thinks it's running on race gas. It thinks it's running on 100 octane, which you can't get. But to do that, I have to run water meth injection. So I'm basically spraying windshield washer fluid into the engine, and the car thinks between that and the horrible pump gas, it thinks it's getting race gas. So it's kind of a fun trick. And so like the air ride, for instance, Raceland I've had no issues with their suspension. I've had issues with my management I've used on the car. I don't have anything fancy. It's probably the most old school way of doing it, but it's simple and it works. And the biggest thing is that, if I have to field strip parts and service them, it's really easy to do. The guys at Raceland are awesome. They were willing to sit there and answer all of my dumb questions, and they're really patient with me, so it was really good. Ask anybody who's talked with Raceland, and they're super happy to answer any questions you have. And if you're local, they'll say, come on down and come look at this. I think the biggest thing I've been impressed with is their warranty. If you have parts that have failed, they'll service it. They'll give you free parts. And I think they stand behind their product enough that they can do that.